We'll see if we see more Guan Yu as we get ready for Game 2 picks and bans. I'm curious on if Queso is going to normalize a little bit in this game.
Probably not, honestly. They like to kind of stretch the boundaries, which is fine, honestly. We're approaching week number 5 in the Smite Minor League European side. You're at 2-2 currently, so there's still time to play around with the compositions. You're not too far behind currently, Flashpoint. And also keep in mind that the first week matchup, Flashpoint did win that set 2-0, so this could be kind of Queso trying to still figure things out.
Yeah, and as well, there's something to be said about sticking to what you've been practicing. If you've been practicing weird stuff and it doesn't work Game 1, you shouldn't necessarily just throw it all in the garbage before you get ready for Game 2. So we'll have to wait and see, as Freya is banned this time around by Queso. This is an adjustment from Game 1, of course, where that was first picked by Flashpoint, but Queso seems a little bit less open to the idea of first picking this goddess.
Yeah, not going to ban away the Ao Kuang this time around. I think that they're more concerned about that Freya. If you're not going to gank the Freya and you're just going to gank other lanes or just prioritize farm, then just take that option away. Freya in the late game is an absolute monster. You don't want to deal with it. Flashpoint with the second pick, taking away the Arthur.
Kind of as expected in that position. So now Gibalanke, I was going to say, that was the ban that got through this time around with the switch up to banning Freya. But now, I mean, there's still a lot of picks on the table. Queso last time picked Giannis and Wukong in this slot that Flashpoint is currently in. I doubt that Flashpoint will have that sort of prioritization. But actually, I'd eaten my words a little bit. Giannis is the first pick for them.
Well, it's going to go onto Farrakrick this time. We're not going to see Johnny playing the Giannis. And Farrakrick is an absolute beast on it. And speaking of an absolute beast, Johnny again on the Susanoo after going 7-0-8 in the last game, being a part of 15 of his team's 20 kills. That's going to be probably really scary for Queso to deal with it for a second time in a row. They need to find ways to mitigate that kind of early game pressure that he's bringing.
I love that the lock in Giannis and Susanoo at the exact same time, because Susanoo is one of the few junglers that can really counter Giannis pretty effectively, and so they take the Giannis and the counter pick simultaneously, and they don't work too poorly together, as Camazot's in an early Ares selection. It is good against what Flashpoint has so far.
It is. Susanoo doesn't have any CC immunity, so you catch him with a no escape, at least force a bees, maybe late game Mad Guy's Cloak, and then obviously if you're crippled, nobody, including the Giannis, can go through those portals, so needing to be very accurate on those chains.
Sun Wukong, the final pick for the second ban phase here for Flashpoint. In an early Camazot's pick for Queso, this was banned in the second phase in game number 1. Do you think there's a flex pick that this could go jungle or solo?
We're about to find out, honestly. It's probably going to limit a lot of options that Sibi wants to do. Not going to want to be super aggressive against this Camazot. It's difficult to box into any god that has 2 forms of healing, between the jump, between the vampire bats. I don't think that Sibi's going to want to play aggressive. He might look for another either Guan Yu or another mid to late game god, maybe even Amaterasu.
Ooh, that'd be a little bit exciting. We haven't seen a whole lot of her as of late. 2 mid laners taken away, though, by Flashpoint. That's Hera and Agni trying to take out of the hands of Warchi in the mid lane, 2 gods that he's played a decent amount of so far with his time in mid. Agni, in particular, a lot last year. So now, I wouldn't be surprised, though, if that Camazotz is for Warchi at this point, because you never seem to know with Queso where these picks are going.
And he's going to have to be very accurate with these abilities. And as a Camazotz, you have to position yourself in such a way that you're grouping the wave, cleaving it down, and then looking for the poke. And honestly, Camazotz against any mage will win that matchup if you can consistently hit the Screech or the Vampire Bats. But after that last game, I think that he should just kind of stick to mages and allow probably Worst Turtle to get the damage off. Because last game, Worst Turtle did not have the presence that a jungler should have.
Bakasura and Nox. Interesting. I would say it's Nox support, but I don't think there's any way you could put Ares anywhere but in the support role. So now I'm left to question. Normally I'd say, oh, this is easy. Nox mid, Camazotz solo, Baka jungle. We're good, but Queso's proven that that's a little bit risky to even assume these gods where they normally go.
Yeah, I'm not really sure between this Nox. I mean, maybe. Okay, so
there's no way it's Nox jungle, right? Her 2 is a long cooldown. It doesn't full clear the camps.
What if it's Ares jungle?
There's no way it is Ares jungle.
It's Ares jungle.
If it's Ares jungle, game 2 is going to be equally short. That is that is my prediction. Flashpoint looking to close it out 2-0. Queso looking to bounce back and warm themselves up. Let's throw it over to the casters for game 2.
I mean, you do have to warm up Queso, right?
It is usually better with your
It's supposed to be
chips
what?
that way.
Queso, right?
It can be cold though.
Why would you want it cold?
I don't know. People are weird though.
Yeah, they are. Talking about weird compositions, it's not going to be Ares in the jungle. Draco Marina will be piloting that Ares. Instead, it'll be the Bakasora. No real surprise there. Taco, we were just saying off there, there's a hell of a lot of CC on this Queso roster this time round, apart from, realistically Julio in the solo lane, but everybody else has got some high-level CC.
Yeah, it looks like Team Queso will actually get to play Smite this round because they've drafted, I think, means of actually fighting into and against Flashpoint. A lot of heavy CC, particularly that from Warchi and Draco Marino, and I love the follow-up that they have as well because Julio on this Camazotz, I think, is going to be very controlling against Flashpoint's backline.
Surprised to see Draco Marino there going for the Searing Flesh for extra wave clear in the early stages. Should belong King and Ares. If he does go Searing Flesh, they should have a bit of an advantage in this lane. Geb's wave clear, a little bit lackluster. Same can be said for Ares, but like I said, Searing Flesh makes a difference. Hispanivai,
though, getting chunked by Chekio's autos, and this is all with the branching bola.
Yeah.
Chekio knows how much damage and just how limiting the Xbalanque can feel in lane, and even though the first wave didn't necessarily go in Queso's favor, looks as though wave 2 might be a different story, but
oh, mid lane, a lot of pressure. Warchi trapped for a second, but it was actually Johnny that's forced to beads and jump away. But he jumps to a dangerous spot, gets a pull from Farrakut. We're still with a blink. Johnny's still trying to juke it out. It's speed versus speed, but Warchi's basic will get Queso their first blood.
it was almost perfect, just not quite enough yet. Warchi gonna get the beads as well from Farrakut off of that Shadow Lock, and now Warchi kind of free to do what he wants in this mid lane. Red buffs had already been stripped away from both sides, but this is already a much better look for Team Queso.
Definitely, I was just about to say 2 minutes in and we were already like, okay, things aren't too bad. Dual lane surviving, solo lane pressured, mid lane getting kills. Best situation you can have in the first 2 minutes of the game. In your ranked games, you won't experience that 90% of the time. I don't know how that's possible that you could, always have your teammates dying, but you do.
It's usually the duo lane though.
Can't help it, can we?
No, there's really no way around it.
I mean, do you even play dual lane anymore? You're more of a
Yeah,
jungler
I'm
type,
back.
right?
I'm
You're
back
back
on
in
my.
it? Is that because of
my
the item
nonsense.
changes? Oh, hang on a second. Julio just jumped in, looking for a trade. There's minions involved here. Sibi should be able to just run this down. No leap available for Julio. He over-calculated how much health he was going to get, I think. I think he thought he was going to get more from that leap, but there wasn't enough minions to get him any more sustain.
Julio also missed the vampiric bats,
Oof.
and that is the real reason he ends up falling there. Didn't actually receive any sustain back, so all he had to rely on was that leap from the Camazotz, and it just too little, too late.
Watch it
Essentially.
though. Continuing to pressure the mid lane, knowing that he has beads on cooldown for both. For Johnny and Farrakut, keeping the pressure on, allowing Worstil to keep farming and get a bit of a lead now. He's up about half a level, I'd say, give or take. Level exactly with 3 versus 4.
And something I want to point out too is Warchi, like Aggro mentioned, is playing the Nox, who has fairly long cooldowns, but early on, I don't think Warchi's really feeling any limitations from that, primarily because of the fact that he's against Farrakut on this Giannis, and Giannis just struggles, I think, a little bit more so than some of the other mages at clearing that mid lane.
Definitely, and not just that as well, he's also against the Susano in the jungle. Susano is susceptible to silences. It does cause a lot of problems. Assassins really do struggle against Nox in general. So having that available for when you want to get closed in. Julio could fall again in this solo lane. Things are getting out of hand over here. Flashpoint have found a window to this game, and it's through Sibi at the moment.
Yeah, this is where things could start to become pretty problematic if you're Queso, because with all this pressure coming out of the Flashpoint solo lane, now Flashpoint can just look for these aggressive rotations.
Bit of a weird play from Flashpoint, looking for the steal of the buff rather than the kills. Chekio will escape danger. Worst Turtle could be the casualty of war, and will be, as Johnny did find the stream to catch up with the Bakasora leaping away. Weird play, though, from Flashpoint. I think they could have got an extra kill there. They dropped an opportunity. Queso weren't punished enough.
Queso probably could have been punished more, but Jacob Marino might get exactly what you were looking for, Hindu. Gonna toss out the chains, but it's mostly wishful thinking from this Ares, as Flashpoint will return the favor onto Queso, give him a little taste of their own medicine with that purple buff invade. And now it just feels like some of this side lane could begin spilling over into the mid and jungle.
Yeah, we'll see what can happen with those side lanes too, because Sibi at the moment, he hasn't gone back to base after full boots. Meanwhile, it's Gladiator Shield online for Julio, so his sustain's definitely there in that solo lane now. You just need to sit back a little bit more and not over-aggress, I think, is the call for now.
But how much can Julio really afford to sustain through this Glad Shield by attacking into Sibby? I think that Sibby just has the advantage because of that cudgel probably being a little bit easier to target lock.
Yeah, one of the safest, to an extent, solo laners in terms of the warrior department. Julio just left. That's going to be on cooldown. He will have the Bat Out of Hell available and has to use it early. Just stream off the mark there, but he could try and pull him back in. The dive from Sibby with the ultimate. Beautifully used there as the knock-up after the fact is good. Sibby will get credit for the kill, and a good juggle of aggro between the two players of Flashpoint.
And Worst Turtle is nowhere to be seen because he's not on that Giannis. For once, I think Queso wishing that they had that Giannis jungle.
In fairness, though, they did manage to get a little bit of pressure on this left-hand side. I mean, keep an eye on Worst Turtle. I was going to say he was trying to pressure the left-hand side jungle, but there wasn't really much up to take.
And in all fairness, there's only so much Worst Turtle can do in this type of situation. I think that he's already cut his losses and just expected this solo lane to be controlled by Sibby. I think it's best for him to continue prioritizing elsewhere, but Farkrig holding off. I think he was waiting for that Siphon Darkness.
He was, but he didn't seem to come through. Johnny, though, on the run on the right-hand side now, may have stuck around a little bit too long. We're still blinked, but I don't think he realized the path in, that he was jumping into a wall there, so he won't be able to catch up with Johnny. Instead, have to accept a bit of an invade on the right-hand side. Talk about invades left-hand side, too. Chekio's a little bit far forward there on the Jabberlonke, looking for that purple. May have stripped it away, though. Nope, still up.
Didn't have a chance to, unfortunately for him. He spotted out Fusify being local and just knew that it'd be best to let Caspainify get the experience split both ways.
Credit where it's due to mid lane, though, at the moment. I mean, Warchi, top of the net worth in terms of gold now, and that's against Sibby, who's on 3 kills in the solo lane. Done a very good job of farming consistently. On a Nox, it's not really an easy task, that.
And it's surprising as well, simply because of the fact that he's against a Giannis. Farkrig, I think, has a little bit of an easier time working his way around to the back harpies from a Flashpoint's jungle. And Nox, if she tries to make those kind of rotations, you know, normally she's going to miss out on a melee minion or an archer minion, as Chekio is missing out on his purification beads right now. And
nice little play from Fusify, but it cost him his blink and his ultimate, so bit of a window now for a bit of pressure on Chekio.
Interesting day when both supports choose to go blink, by the way, in the duo lane. Normally,
at levels 5, yeah,
that's the thing, is that like
yeah.
at the start of the game, and for Geb Ares as well, it's not like these are traditionally first blink relic type of supports, but they can be.
They're definitely both supports that like blink, and they love it if they can get it, but they have to understand that it's mainly level 12 that's the best option for it. Julio, I wish he had a blink right about now, at least a combat one. Instead, he'll have to use the Bat Out of Hell on the disengage one more time. His blue buff could be invaded off the back of that, but at the same time, Worst Turtle will punish the left-hand side of the map by stealing away flashpoints. Red buff.
Jacovarino has also rotated over into the solo lane now, but they've got to be careful. Sibby still has that somersault cloud that he could go up into, looking for a dive opportunity, and Johnny as well. He has not necessarily left the vicinity, but with Warchi and Worst Turtle making their rotations in, Johnny's got to watch out.
Only thing that's worrying me about this Queso, come hold that fort. Worst Turtle gonna blink in, get the ultimate off. Draco Marino after the fact goes to pull him back, but space and time and beads used to keep Flashpoint in position. Johnny trading out with Draco Marino, and Draco Marino backpedaling as Johnny slips around the corner, gets the Typhoon off. Warchi and Draco Marino with 2 health. Fusify goes, the Rock said, know your damn role. Only he's playing a mid lane at least, but still, Draco Marino gonna fall, and Johnny will live through his Fusify. The Geb of Dreams gets a double kill.
Draco Marino should have stopped running once he got behind that tower. The further he ran towards the center or the front of the tower line, the more obvious it became that Johnny was just waiting until that last tick of the jet stream to go in.
Sibby to get a bit of regen after Cloud. Got to be careful with this trade with Julio. Julio could get a turnaround kill. The minions coming into play, as is the sustain. But respect from Julio, worried about the minions, and Sibby's going to give chase. Knockup's good. And there's the Master's will to secure the kill before Julio can get an ability off.
Crippling defeat right there for Julio. That was probably the closest he's going to come to being able to solo Sibby, and now I think that opportunity is far gone out the window. Julio's got to try and make up for Miss Farm, but when you're 3 levels behind from the solo lane and you're meant to be this big boon of damage for your team, as follow-up, I think, to Queso's hard crowd control composition, This could pose a lot of threats now to the comp because Flashpoint, I think, with their experience lead, soon enough, Sibi's just going to start rotating in and looking for this early Gold Fury.
You mentioned it, this lead that's developed in the solo lane over time for Sibi has started to pressure mid, started to pressure the jungle position too, and that's where you can see all the experience leads coming through for Flashpoint now as well, as people have had to rotate to try and support Julio a little bit in this solo lane. One issue with the composition I was going to say is Farrakrid gets pressured in the mid lane for a second, Taco, is that Queso have a hell of a lot of skill shot dependent gods here. Nox, you've got a heavy ability, which Warchi is doing well. But same as for Draco Marino and Julio, they both have the same sort of situation. And with so many skill shots where big areas of effect are available for Flashpoint here, it can cause some problems.
It means that Queso need to be precise, more than anything else, I think. And speaking of precision, Johnny will end up getting exploded, but Worst Turtle, similar fashion, is going to end up falling here. Warchi now with another cleanup kill, but it's Jacob Marino who gets the credit onto Farrakrid.
It's going to be a play for Queso right now. If Fusify can fall down here, Julio's made a rotation from the solo lane too. This could be a Gold Fury after the fact. They can find this pick on the Geb, but Fusify's doing a good job of buying time. It's allowed Kaspanify to get in here for a moment or two, whittle away a bit of damage, and lock Warchi low. Kaspanify going to dash in. Fusify still alive. Kaspanify gets baited by his support. Classic, people come to support, and the support lives, and the carry dies.
And Kaspanify found what he was after in the end, though. Warchi did wind up falling. Didn't have a chance to use those purification beads either. I think that's probably for the best, though, that Warchi didn't use beads, but I'm not even certain how Kaspanify managed to sniper shot Warchi through 3 different people.
It's a scrappy game so far, but those kills are quite important to Team Queso. Makes him look a little bit better in the standings, because before that fight, they were sat at 1 kill for the entire game. Would have been just as bad as game 1 of this set. But now they've got a bit of a window. They've managed to survive and get a bit of a gank in the jungle, defend their own buffs, which is important, but they've got to keep this up now.
One problem that I see forming here, Hindu, is the fact that Queso's mid tower is already so low, and we're just approaching the 12-minute mark. So Flashpoint, I think, it's only a matter of time before they start 5-man grouping and looking for this Gold Fury. Sibi's already started making it clear that he wants to become a influential factor from the mid lane, using all of that pressure he acquired from solo, all of that farm, to just try and strong-arm Queso out of their mid.
Bit of an interesting discussion as well about the objective secure for both teams, because neither really has total control of the Gold Furies when it comes to secure. You know, Nox and Giannis aren't the greatest. You're always looking towards your mages most of the time.
But Fusify does have the Cataclysm, and I think Flashpoint probably have a slight advantage just because Johnny's got the Typhoon. That's probably the best objective secure ability right now in the game for either of these teams.
Farrakrid in the mid lane just jukes out the route from Warchi there. Draco was looking for a chain if he could find one. Didn't have a window though, but Farrakrid just used his portal, walked straight into Chekio. That's going to force out the through space and time. Fired aggressively from Farrakrid there. Could have been run down, but Queso won't overextend for now. Instead, Warchi mid will catch Fusify. Fusify with the Cataclysm. That'll get the beads out of Warchi. He gets punished for taking on the Geb.
But Fusify without that Cataclysm now can't get away from Jacobino.
Or his dash. Has to use his ultimate as well. That puts a bit of damage on Sibi. Sibi will back away for now. Flashpoint happy with the results of this mid lane play so far.
Both teams just trying to show face right now in the mid lane, and it's all about who looks scarier. And if you're asking me, Hindu, I think it's definitely Flashpoint with the slight advantage here. But they've got to be mindful. Jacob Marino does still have that ultimate available on the Ares, and a 5-man chain linking here could be big.
Currently a 4-on-5. Warchi heading back from base right now. Flashpoint having to fall off against Queso. So that means that Queso will be able to defend the Gold Fury for now. They clear out the ward situation. We've still got all players on this left-hand side. Just got to be careful of who could get into a tricky situation.
Almost got to wonder, though, if it might be Chekio who's going to make his final mark here in a second.
The blink in from Draco catches the change of Kaspanify. Kaspanify going to have to ult along with Johnny away from the no escape. Farrakrid through space and time didn't really find a home at all. Create a portal, and Julio will escape the unstable vortex. So quite a few ults from Flashpoint used there. Didn't really find the result they were after.
I don't think Queso got what they wanted either, though, and Flashpoint still looking to aggressively position into Queso's jungle.
Good start onto Warchi just as the ultimate wore off from him. Johnny tries to get away from Julio and does so successfully for now. Sibi has to get on the cloud. Flashpoint trying to regroup towards the mid lane here, being pressured out of Queso's jungle.
Sibby is one tanky Sun Wukong though, so he doesn't really seem to mind. Knockup gonna get canceled out though. Jacob Bonino on point with these chains.
And Sibby's gonna fall down. The first casualty. Queso have taken one member down. Gold Fury could be looming here. Right inside though, we're still and Johnny gonna trade out. The jungle buff came into play, I'd say, with some sustain. And Johnny's gonna have to base. Wurtel came up with the goods on that blue buff.
Johnny's still lurking. I guess to double check and see, make sure that Worst Turtle actually felt comfortable enough to drop the buff. Yusufai looking to try and contest this Gold Fury, but he's doing it alone.
Paracrick coming in though, Unstable Vortex available. They won't get the Gold Fury, but the damage is huge. Queso members all relatively low. Space and time from Paracrick removes Warchi. Draco Marino's on 2 off the left-hand side looking to back, but the collapse is onto Julio, who doesn't have the ban out of hell available. Wurstill's got enough to jump away, gets away from Hachiman for now. And Chekio's like, well, guys, you're all dead. I'm a one-man army for the time being.
But the Unstable Vortex was just off the mark from Firecrack. Fusify now, or Spanify now, looking to wrap around and finds it with the mounted archery. Firecrack gonna tank up that last tower shot for his Hunter. And even though the Gold Fury might have gone down in favor of Queso, it's Flashpoint who are winning the fight after the fact.
We get a tier 1 in the right-hand side, tier 1 in the mid lane. Couple of kills, and it looks like a tier 1 on the left-hand side too, so same sort of time as game 1. Different reasons though. Queso find themselves trailing quite heavily again.
It was just too much committed to the Gold Fury, but I do respect the team's decision to be unanimous with that shot call. It was very evident that Queso wanted to commit onto the Gold Fury. The disengage just wasn't possible because of Firecrack on this Giannis.
The Giannis has caused a couple of problems as the game continued. 15, 2 levels above Warchi, who, once upon a time, Warchi was pretty potent in the mid lane at the start of this game. Issues elsewhere have caused problems, specifically in that solo lane. Julio just kept fighting. He's kept up in levels to an extent. I say that Sibby dings 15 now, so he's still on 2-level lead there.
You have to keep in mind, though, Warchi's got all of his cooldowns available, and Firecrack going to be forced through that through space in time. In response, Menino and Warchi both trusting that that no escape would yield different results.
It definitely was a good play from them. It cost them both ultimates, though, to try and get that play off. But Queso did get the beads and ultimate out of Firecrack, which is pretty big. Now they're trying to put some pressure onto Fusify in mid lane, but he's tanky enough for the time being. Full Gauntlet of Thieves built up. That's enough protections for days there.
The disengage from Flashpoint is so strong, though, with this Giannis Geb, and I think that the Geb is what's going to pose a lot of serious problems for Warchi, and why Warchi also, I mean, it's Nox, so you want to prioritize your cooldowns anyway, but I think that in this case, Warchi also had to go for the 40% cooldown reduction options, otherwise he's never going to catch anybody inside of his Shadowlock Siphon Darkness.
Yeah, as long as you can get out the early game as Geb, you're going to make an impact for your team. Those shields will always come up clutch. Prevents CC more than if it's cleanses CC and gives you a bit of a health shield too. Pressure in the mid lane from Queso though, still pretty heavy far forward, not all grouped together. Warchi forced to dash away right hand side. Julio still being boxed out by Sibby.
Interesting blink option choice there from Fusify, maybe hoping to catch out the dash from Warchi with the knockup. It's close time and Warchi's just been too fast with the response.
Fusify silence, but while he was busy, Firecrack was getting all in. Aegis down, through space and time used. Shield was used, but already Queso find the pick they're after. Meanwhile though, Johnny on a tail end of trouble now, being chased down by Julio.
And this is the most aggressive Julio's looked the entire game. Bat out of hell gonna come through. Bonus damage being applied because Sibby's grouping up on his teammate. But it's Sibby now looking to give chase or to disengage away from Julio.
Queso still trying to find picks in this fight. It's a bit of a messy one because Spanify ults away. Still chased by Wurstill, but buys himself enough time. Turns around to take a fight again as Fusify in the mid lane getting changed. So no escaped. No ultimate available for Fusify. So he's coming all the way back into danger. And Warchi's there with the pool of silence. Still though, Wurstill and Kaspanify going at it. That assy for Kaspanify with the Devourer's Gauntlets really came up big and made sure Wurstill couldn't find himself another kill.
But look at how quickly Flashpoint crumbled. Just from one pick. Firecrack dies, and then immediately Queso just look for the collapse because they know Flashpoint won't have that through space and time that they've been relying on so many times beforehand to escape. And I think that the target selection felt really strong there and clean from Queso. This is definitely a night and day performance from game 1.
Yeah, they've managed to actually group up to a sort of team fight situation. Main thing is as well is they've not really lost too much in the jungle objective-wise as well. Only those outside towers going down. The fact that Queso took that fight and then got a tier 1 tower in the mid after the fact. Did help them out a little bit, but they're going to need another win or two to continue this on now. Pyromancer available. Same can be said for the Oni Fury in a moment or two.
And that's probably the only negative aspect of that push from Queso as well. If they'd gotten the T2 tower, I think it would have been a little bit more worthwhile for the team, but even being able to strip away the T1 still opens up the map a little bit in Queso's favor, and so now mid lane is just all playroom for both of these teams.
Worst Turtle in the jungle using the new Igval this time round. It's a tier 3 item now. It's not just going to be a tier 2. Had a couple of effects change to it. Taco, how are you feeling on the new Igval? You like it?
It's a lot of power, about 75 in total, but...
It says 30 there.
Well, it says 30 there, but it can wind up being to about 75 when you're increasing your physical power by 15. It's the reduction of attack speed, though, that I think is really what warrants this buy. But Civi's got to be careful here. Already being forced into the Somersault Cloud, but it's Flashpoint who wants to be aggressive.
It is. Space and time already used. Blink of him, Fusify actually will catch through with the Cataclysm. Jacob Marino with the turnaround play. Pulls in 2. No pool of silence available from Warchi there. Round the corner comes Johnny, looking to pick up some pressure on Chekio. Whistle tried to frontline for the best of his ability, but he's trying to get out. Fusify has bought as much time as possible with his shields, but he's going to fall down first.
Johnny, looking for Worst Turtle, just doesn't know which way to run. Has 4 members of Team Queso surrounding him, but it's all about Warchi with these Siphon Darknesses now into the chains. There is no escape from Jacob Marino.
Johnny, though, was really doing the work to set up his teammates. Flashpoint gets to the back line, but they don't find as many kills as they want. They've only taken down Warchi so far. Sibi took way too long killing Chekio, and he will escape for now. Messy fight from both teams. No one really with an advantage.
I'm not sure if Chekio had his Aussie proc going at the same time either, but Sibi is just toast. As soon as Worst Turtle catches up to him, there's no getting away from those Butcher Blades. Has the Hasten Katana in tow as well. And what looked, I can't even say that looked like a promising fight for Flashpoint. They expend the Cataclysm, they use it through space and time, and there weren't any low health targets at all. That Darkest Night, combined alongside of Warchi's Siphon Darknesses being placed in really smart choke point areas, prevented Flashpoint from looking to smother Queso's backline even harder.
Firecrick and Wurzel meeting up, and I don't think they meant to. At least both of them didn't realize everyone was there. Firecrick ends up having to use his ultimate, not respecting the assassin in melee range after using his pull, forced to use it through space and time.
I'll take it through space and time, though, for a Regurgitate any day of the week, at least if I'm Firecrick.
Got cooldown as well, right?
He has so much more cooldowns in comparison to Worst Turtle, but I'm mostly looking at this Regurgitate from Worst Turtle as being another frustrating factor when combined alongside of Warchi's cooldowns.
We mentioned the Igval a little bit. We didn't go into too much detail about it. You said the attack speed can be relatively useful, and that will shut down some of the options of Kaspanify on that Hachiman. But also these Assies are new, and we've seen both the Hunters go towards the Assie this week. It's an upgraded version of the old Assie. Now got a little bit more of everything.
Every stat you could possibly want as a Hunter. 15 pen, 20% attack speed, but Fusify right now just looking for Warchi.
We're never going to talk about items today, Taco. These guys just want to scrap the entire time, but that's okay by me. Darkest Night's already used. Queso on the defensive. That ultimate on cooldown, as his Warchi's causes a couple of problems for them. Fusify has expended his Cataclysm. Sibi expended his Cloud. So far, it's 2 ults for 2. Worst Turtle's Regurgitate is coming up soon, but the Oni Fury is getting low.
Flashpoint don't want the Zoni Fury, though. They want the
Space of time! Firecrick just deleted one, and now the fight is going Flashpoint's way.
Worst Turtle gets his Regurgitate, but it's just too little too late. All of Queso just getting absolutely obliterated by that through space. It was through space and time, Typhoon, Cataclysm, all at once was just way too much damage to handle. Everybody from Queso just being misfortunate enough to be stacked on top of each other. And now, who needs an Oni Fury? We can just get the Fire Giant for free.
You mentioned how Queso fought the last fight very well using the choke points. Well, Flashpoint just did the same thing back to them. All funneled in that little red buff area. Caused so many problems. Like you said, the Typhoon and space and time just all dumped on the same area of the map.
But that's so heartbreaking for Queso because this match has been so back and forth between these two teams for a while, up until that last play. And now with this Fire Giant, it won't be enhanced, fortunately enough for Queso, so they won't have to worry about losing any of those backdoor protections or just the boosted stats in general that an enhanced Fire Giant provides.
Gotta say, Taco, the one thing about that is look at what happened on the map. Meanwhile, while 3 of them were doing Fire Giant, Johnny pushed tier 2 on the right. Meanwhile, Firecrick got tier 2 in the mid. And now the tier 2 on the left-hand side could go down to minions relatively quickly. There's a lot of archers there. Chekio's going to get in time quick. and he will do for now, but that's a big gold swing.
That's a fat wave for Chekio, too.
Yeah, it is.
Always feels good as a hunter when you get to clear those, but
When you're losing, though, does it feel good?
Actually, yeah.
Does it feel better?
It feels better.
Okay.
It's farm.
That's
I mean,
true.
joke's on the enemy team. They think that it's bad for me when I lose my Phoenixes. No, the fire meetings are just additional farm.
That's a good point. They come towards you. You don't even have to go looking for
I
them
don't even have to go
anymore.
looking for it.
Just sit in your base.
When you leave the base, you die. So you're better off just waiting for the creeps to come to you.
Well, now with the Oni Fury going down, this Oni Fury will allow some extra powerful minions to come down the lane, cause a couple of problems for the classic minions, but also help with the siege of these Phoenixes. There's only one tier 2 tower remaining for Flashpoint to take, so no surprise they're on this left-hand side. Johnny, though, going to pressure up mid lane on Susanna.
Sieging could pose a whole new set of problems, though, for Flashpoint, because they won't be able to utilize the walls of the jungle nearly as much here, but it might not even matter if Warchi's going to use or lose his purification beads so early on before any fights have even really begun.
Surprised by the ultimate after the fact. I guess he was a little bit worried about further engagement, but now that ult's on cooldown too for a while. It's not going to allow him to be available with any more CC prevention on this next fight on the left-hand side. Everybody on Flashpoint groups up together. Space and time is available. Just Fusify that has used the Blink and the Cataclysm, which is, unfortunately, I thought that was going to be their major engage for the Phoenix.
Patience is a virtue, though, for Flashpoint, and with 2 Oni boosted waves, Johnny now going to take the 1v1 against Worst Turtle, and help not even needed, but will be provided.
Space and time cuts Chekio's HP in half. The shell comes into play. Aegis used too. Chekio still alive. Dashes away. Phoenix alive. But Johnny will find the kill onto him as well as the rest of the team. This could be over again, Taco. Flashpoint have won team fights consistently.
It's just such a quick collapse for Queso when they're unable to string their kits together efficiently. And that all goes back to Fusify and Johnny forcing out Warchi's ultimate and his purification beats so early on without that damage reduction against Flashpoint on that siege, and combine that alongside of the Oni minion waves that were pushing at the same time. It was just way too much chaos, I think, in a more controlled space by Flashpoint.
I think the one thing we saw there is when we saw a big fight from Queso in the mid lane where they had a good fight, they took 4 members down, all they got was a tier 1 tower. The game develops a little bit more, Flashpoint take the same amount of kills. What do they get? Fire Giant, Gold Furies, tier 2 towers, the game. 2-0 to Flashpoint. You surprised?
I am a little bit surprised to see Team Queso fall down in such a controlled fashion from Flashpoint, but I think that Flashpoint ultimately came through with a better team fighting strategies, and I think that their compositions as well were really strong at handling that which Queso was trying to find in both games 1 and 2.
Not the best before you'd hope for Queso, but congratulations to Flashpoint. Let's go to the desk to break down the set.
That cheese was expired. Queso lose quickly. I'm going to keep making puns all year long. It's only week 5, totally.
What kind of cheese are we talking?
Queso. That's the joke. They are Team Queso.
But you can use other specific kinds of cheese
Right,
for your
but,
case.
okay, well, it's Monterey Jack.
Okay.
It's expired.
We got to know these things.
They lost pretty quickly is the idea here. 26 minutes here in game 2. It turns out when you put Giannis in mid and Wukong in solo, things are a little bit easier to execute.
Yeah, Sibi going 4-0 by the 9-minute mark, kind of doing the Sibi some Wukong things, finding multiple solo kills, just no problems whatsoever. Getting a little bit of assistance from Johnny, using his ultimate to tank up the tower was very good. And I think the problem for Queso, a lot of it comes down to their high execution draft composition. You got a Nox, Ares, and a Camazotz. You have to be firing on all cylinders to almost flawless perfection.
That's right. It's not easy to line up all those different skill shots consistently, and just did not work out overall for Team Queso. Sibi soloing his lane opposition and Julio twice. Not a good look in particular for Queso's solo laner. Queso, I think a lot of people were really high on them after last week. They beat out Cole. Everyone's kind of excited. They're playing this weird new style. And then they run into the brick wall that is Flashpoint this week, kind of brings them back to reality a little bit.
And this Giannis pick, we knew it was going to be a highly contested pick between both teams, right? Obviously wanting to take it away from Ferrocrick's hands in game number 1 was Queso, but putting in the jungle was just not a good look, and I think that maybe that took a hit on the mentally transitioning into game number 2, first picking the Xbalanque.
Caspanify also had a really good game, a little bit under the radar if you were just kind of watching, but 20k damage, certainly quite a bit for him. Fusify on the Geb, of course, had a very good game as well with that big Cataclysm in mid. This is a team that is just working really well together as a unit right now in Flashpoint. And I think that really shows that there's a lot of individual talent at the minor league level, but team play will almost always supersede that.
That's right. And now that's going to put them at 4-1 after this set victory. All these other teams trying to play catch up, and it's difficult with kind of plays like that when they're focusing out Johnny's Alkwang in game number 1, and then they're kind of giving up Giannis for Fairkirk in game number 2. It's like, who do you start selecting to single out of this team?
That's right. It just takes a little bit of time to figure out how you're going to dissect Flashpoint and find their victories. It's tough right now if you're going up against the Flashpoint squad. Hopefully, Queso and the rest of the European Minor League can do a little bit better up against them pretty soon. And we'll see the other 2 members of the European Minor League right on the other side of this break. It's going to be Simplicity up against Out Cold.